Mr. Cash.
Yes.
Mm, can you explain why, like somebody has carried the virus, but don't show any symptom, but spread and infection a lot of people?
This has happened in China quite a lot. We know that. They find people uh, without virus, they release them from hospital, and then they go and they infect many people in the community because they say they don't have it. But then they show the virus. The reason being is what I explain all the time. Our, um, our scientific knowledge in the present world of medicine is so limited, amazingly limited. And in so many ways, uh, once, if this is the body of the man, have you noticed how my men have changed? They're not like this anymore. Now we have to give them a shape. When you have the lungs, and I explained earlier on, and this is your gorgeous little heart in the middle there. Uh, when they test it and they show they have a virus, and then there is no virus. They test the blood and it's not there. In fact, what the doctors should do, they have to test the water of the lung, the what comes out of the lung. So they see no virus in the blood, and it's very, they don't, to culture a virus, I was even discussing with scientists yesterday, is they need permission. They don't, they see protein structure of it and they say it is virus. So they go in and they say they have no virus. But in fact, if you look at it, this is what they carry, the energy of the virus. So they don't show it in their blood, but they carry it as energy in the lung. So the virus is energy bag. Could be on the skin or the sweat of the fingerprint, whatever. So now they walk around and they see the guy on the street and he has the same strength amino acid. It could be cousins by 10 generation. What do you get? Energy transfer. Viruses doesn't go by mouth, by air. Viruses go by energy transfer. And this is what doctors haven't understood. So now the guy is walking around with a pack of energy of virus, whoever is in his village, of the same cousins and whatever. Jujum, 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 jujum. This is what I explain in a very, very rough way to the Iranian medical team handling the coronavirus this morning. It's an embarrassment to address such a highly educated people this way, but it's the only way you can get to these people. This virus, this is how it comes. Your lung is the nest of it, and doctors haven't understood this. They don't. Even your brain now we know is the nest of it, and magnetic field transfer through plasmatic field lines. And this is this is part of what we see. You hear me coughing all the time for nearly 2 or 3 months since we went to Brazil. Lady doctor gave it to us, and none of us can get rid of it. It goes away, and sometimes it comes back, and you just, this is a long suffering with one virus from South America. a gift from the Brazil. I call it the Brazilian nut. Uh, and so you get the transfer. You don't need to be in touch. He can just pass you on the street and you get it. He's in a way a beacon of plasma. And if he gets it hit by another one of a different strand from this one, then he dies. Because now he's going through the same process again. If you use the system of protecting yourself with gas, environment, the skin, the breathing, and everything else, you continuously deplete these. So they're continuously taken out every day. This is what we're doing in Fukushima. You see, the medical doctors doesn't understand the experience. Keshe Foundation has such a vast amount of information sitting here. And it's shared with all of you. You have just to understand to connect it. We have this knowledge of transfer of energy from Fukushima. We've seen it. We can relate it. So this is how it's transferred, not by hand. You leave it here and you leave it there, and with it, if the energy of this has been transferred, this become transmitted. Then this has to have the same strength by passing it to collected. This is called the virus or energy transfer, and our soul and emotion RNA works on this. We are waiting after all these disasters over to see the people who were affected by it, how the RNA and DNA has changed. There will be a DNA change definitely. And I can see maybe in 3 years, 5 years, those who use the injections will see huge side effects. Will estimate a massive rise in what we call heart attacks. We see a massive rise in brain hemorrhage. We'll see a huge rise in depression, suicides. A Trojan gift. You see, the mentality is there. Something very interesting. I explained that before somewhere. Uh, Gates has given 500 million to the Chinese as a gift for, and most of it is from the vaccines from himself, his own company. And they thank him for his gift to giving it to us. And that 500, if it's $1 each, 500 million Chinese will die because of it. You will understand. Or you get the same as other injections, the side effects of psychological depression, Alzheimer's, and everything else. Autistic behavior in all the people and the young ones who have received it. Who's going to find Bill Gates in his grave? Legacy of murder. This is how it's transferred. And doctors don't understand. You transfer it. So when you walk around, you're a box of energies of corona because it's in there. They got rid of the liquid. The guy doesn't have it in the blood, but he carries it as an energy inside you. Mortality rate over 30 days is very high. You've heard me many times, many times, especially in early Keshe Foundations, always advised did a lot of studies on nuclear weapon aftermath. That what happens after we use the nuclear weapons and how the radiation will change the patterns of the gene and DNA and the rest of it. And always advise, it's written many places I have advised, if you see the glow and the nuclear sound, walk into it. The death of it is less painful than the long-term suffering of it. In so many ways, Corona carries the same. If you are injected, you have walked into the nuclear zone. A lot of you soon will understand. A lot of you soon will understand.
Hello.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Carry on.
Sorry, somebody is asking a question about if this plasma water infected the pregnant women and the baby, or if they can drink the same amount or less.
We don't see any, or as far as we've seen, we haven't seen any side effect, and it's been used for years by people. People in Iran are reporting, because we always warn for those who have a pacemakers, and they've been using it because of the fear of the virus. And in the past few days, are reporting there has been no changes, no side effects. We always stay on the cautious side, but it's for them, the guns they made, they say they don't see any changes in the pacemaker or the side effect. Doesn't mean it doesn't work with others the same, or it works different.
Mr. Kеше, may I ask you something? Can you go and look in the Q&A? There is a family which is calling for help from the United States, in China. Here in the Q&A, on the top, there are 5 there.
Where? How come I don't see Q&A?
I have a question for Mr. Kеше or Wang Lin. I have met a young Chinese family here in the United States that have friends in China. I have shared with them the COP1 live video with Chinese subtitles. They have shared this with their friends in China via WeChat, but they are not able to access in China. What is the best way for those in China to view this video and or to get help? I would like to pass this along the family. I know, and then it stops.
Okay,
Thomas,
Caroline.
I know here it says.
Thomas Weather. And then there is a second request.
Yeah, wait, please. Wait. Wang Lin.
Yes, Mr. Cash. I think I'm gonna send the QQ link in the chat, and they can ask them to join the QQ group, because we have a knowledge seeker there to answer all the questions.
Yeah,
to guide
don't
them.
leave it here. Can we transfer this across to the QQ to this family?
Yeah, I what?
Yeah.
I will try to pass this information on to Lynn in the Telegram private. If I have
okay. Let them contact me. I sent them the QQ group.
I will
QQ
send
link.
it to you. I will send it to you in your WeChat.
Okay, thank you.
And the gentleman can get in touch with me if he can share more details.
Actually, he just need the QQ link and join the group, and we have everything there, and we have the people answer the question online, so he can do it.
Okay, Thomas Wederal is the requester.
Yeah.
Then you have the second one. Do we have any contact near Tanzania? We must reach Mr. Christopher Simwinga. He's doing an amazing work for many years, but it is an enormous difficulty to obtaining Tanzania. We must discuss Herdem. Difficulty to obtaining Tanzania. We must discuss Herdem.
Can you close your microphone, please? Any other?
Keshe, we have a confirmed knowledge seeker in the UK who cannot pass the test within a few seconds of breathing test. I'm trying to see where his location is so that maybe somebody can get it to give him extra support.
Do we don't know the structure of, just keep that. I'll contact them later on, please.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. Any other news? Any other question? We passed well our 4 hours.
I do have one question, Mr. Keshe, because it came up 2 or 3 times in our meetings with the Universal Council members, and that is, how can we position ourselves towards this virus as it has become or materialized like a soul? How can we position ourselves towards that field strength as a soul, on soul level, please?
I think the GANS has taught us how. Be humble enough to be able to receive from his strength. This is the only way mankind will survive in space. Or you become stronger that you feed it, but in time to become to your strength. Depends on the position and the strength of the thought and the strength of the soul. You want to take energy from it, or you want to strengthen it to become the strength as you. It's you who decides. And the thinking doesn't come by the think of the physicality of the man, it comes through the strength of the soul. This is what we said, mankind has to learn to understand the conversion of the energy of the soul into the world of the language he understands. In the space technology, as part of it, when mankind goes through that step, it's very easy. In a spaceship system, we create as much as the barriers for different shielding. Part of this shielding becomes a shield, which is used by many spaceships nowadays. It's a very common practice that the minute you see a virus strength, you trap it. And then in process, his energy is transferred. So the reactors build, release multiple layers of fields. And then You have a shield. We have a magnetic field for radio communication. We created shielding for viruses. And the easy way to do it is, in the time to come, by research, mankind will find out that our what we call DNA and RNA has a spectrum of strength. One for the soul and one for the physicality. And what you do, because you understand these are vulnerable at this bandwidth of the strength, you create a shield here. That is like a trap, but you build it inside the design of your reactors. That any field of strength coming through, which is the strength of the soul and physicality of the man, cannot enter to interfere or to interrupt the passengers. And you have to do both the soul and the solar physicality. Then it covers the whole spectrum of the amino acids of the body and everything else. This is a part that we will enjoy developing in the coming time. And it comes by the mixture in new cancers, and the technology is advanced enough by mankind that you do this. Otherwise, everything will come in and it just takes you. As long as you cover the spectrum you're in, nothing can enter that spectrum. You see. Shall we call it a day? We are nearly 4.5 hours into this today.
Yes, sure, Mr. Keshe. There's always endless questions, so we could go on forever.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ms. Mohammadi. Thank you very much, the Iranian team, the Chinese team, the Austrian team was relentlessly working to make a lot of things happen. What we call the rest of the Keshe Foundation worldwide, each one of us. My message to the Brazilians who are in panic at the moment, as China went some weeks ago, to stay calm. We'll bring, and hopefully by the time we get to you in the next 2 weeks for the Brazilian conference, you will see the Keshe Foundation will come with a free hand. We come with our systems, we ship our systems with us to protect us in a very effective way. And in so many ways, we come to show that we can and we will overcome this virus condition. And in so many ways, it's another air we breathe, now of a different strength. We have to learn to live with it from now on. We have to learn it's become part of us. And my only hope for the human race does not mutate to a living entity. Then human race is in a big heap of problems. If the energy of this virus in contact with human race, as we've seen in the long, have managed to find the conversion of the energy of the body of the man to what we call calcification of matter state seed, then and it gets through its field transfer converted, then mankind is in a huge problem. Huge problem. The problem with it is very simple. And this is for government and world leaders. You'll have nothing to govern. In the long, every cell of the man has a seed of calcium. And this virus has managed to change that this calcification becomes reality. In a way, if you understand it, is making a bone structure out of it. And if at one point itself learns this to give itself physical structure, mankind is doomed. In a way, it's a RNA, and if he finds how to mutate and create its own DNA using the body of the man as a host, mankind is over. You don't see what we see, but we hope that that conversion does not come. You feel entity living inside you, and you can't do nothing about it. You can't take it out because it replicates itself again because it's created a field cavity, as I told you how it transfers. We see a lot of this at the moment happen. And if this process goes into mutation, what we call in human term parasite virus, you have no way to get out of it. There is a technology can be done, but the problem is it'll go to the fish, it'll go to the cat, it goes to the dog, even can transfer to trees and plants. But the problem is it can mutate outside the earth. So in these positions, there is a specific way universal community has decided how to handle situations like this. It's happened before and we know what to do. Sun will not be far.
Mr. Cash, don't say, I hope I am wrong, because you're never wrong.
We see things. We see things. We see the calcification and the speed of it. If it has a soul, and if it finds the link string to calcium, which is in every cell of the man, there is a calcium. And the ratio of the salinity and other fields decides what it becomes. Even in an immune system, there is not a single immune cell that doesn't have the calcium. We come from it. It makes us. It's not that only the bone is in our calcium when we see it. Every cell has that calcium seed, part of it. And that's why they position themselves according to the structure of the bone structure of the man. When you look at the bone structure of the man, every position of every muscle depends on the calcium strength in position to the main gravity center and how the bone is shaped. And then the muscle dictates. You've seen this one. We just had in a lot of you when you make ganses, you say, I have a white gans on top, and I keep on telling you it's a position, gravity position. It's the same. Why bigger muscles come around the bigger tissues? Why, when you got a problem with your father as a son, you go very, very big, unless there is an illness, because the field strength pushes it, positions it, because to confirm the emotion. You have a lot to learn.
But Mr. Cash, we heard that the first dog was being diagnosed has this virus in Hong Kong. And we heard the wild pigs in Hubei province has found African swine fever.
Yep. When the Americans flown it over together, doesn't know the wild or the non-wild. This virus and African swine fever is a gift from United States to humanity. But it comes to bite them worse. You remember what I said? We don't need a gift, it's give it back to the sender. This time it found itself, its way to the center. Thank you very much, and see you next week. Maybe we have a better good news for you. I'm sure we have a better good news for you. But we have to wait. We have to wait till next week and the week after and the weeks to come. And we have to start learning how to live with this virus. Maybe true meaning of living inside us, and then God help humanity. Thank you very much, and see you next week.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Kеше, for another Knowledge Seekers workshop. And this has been the 318th Knowledge Seekers workshop for Thursday, March 5th, 2020. We have the testimonials workshop coming up on Monday, March 9th at 8 p.m. Central European Time. That'll be the next public workshop. So bring your testimonials of the Kеше plasma technology to that workshop, and you'll be able to do a show and tell. Okay, is there any other announcements for today?